Marketing and selling is essential in your online business. And when you have the right strategies and mindset, you not only can make a lot of money, but you can change a lot of lives. Welcome to the Online Marketing Podcast, where we help course creators, membership owners, and coaches market and sell their offers.
We're your hosts, Paul and Melissa Pruitt. Let's dive in and get started.
All lists are not created equal.
Oh my goodness, you're crazy. They all deserve to be equal.
Well, they're all important, but they're not all equal.
Now let's jam on this because it's something, if you think about it, like we're always like list build, list build, list build. Like that's what you hear all the time in marketing, right? So, but what you're telling me is that not all, now you said that plural though, so I'm a little confused.
Yeah. So we definitely, when we are building our list, we have multiple lists. We have different lists for different people depending on what part of the buyer's journey that they're in. And it's important to make sure that they're on those separate lists because they have a different experience.
And you know what? Where we see a lot of people go wrong is they put the most random things into the marketplace when it comes to building a list. And you know what? The best thing to do is if you base that list building off of what you actually are going to offer them later on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important that we're proactive with our list building. And by being proactive, we want to attract the right people into our offer. So we have to really think about the end game. Where do we want to lead people? So as we're building our list, to make sure to put things out there that are going to attract the right people that are going to be naturally interested in the next step with working with us.
Yeah, so as an example, many, many years ago, I'm going to date myself here, back in the mid-90s is when I started my list building. And one of my new agents, he wanted to do repossession homes. He wanted to work with investors, right? But what he ended up finding out very quickly, though, like we were back in the day, HTML building our own websites back then, and I helped them out. And what we were doing, though, is we were like, when a list came out from HUD or when these repo lists came out, we would try to go out into the advertising, right? But what would happen is by the time we placed an ad in a newspaper or in a Homes magazine, the house actually would be off the market by that point in time, right? So what happened is the opportunity disappeared before we could get a potential buyer for it. And we really wanted to build this back then, a list of investors. So we reversed engineered it and we created an opportunity. We actually were doing lead capture, email captures back in the mid 90s and grabbing people in because we realized we had to reverse it. We know that we needed people that were interested in buying these repossessed properties, these investors. So what we need to do is create a reason and build a list of investors. So again, because what would they desire? They would desire the good deals, right? So the good deals would come on and off very quickly. So what we did was we built a list of investors that were sitting there waiting, and then we could send an email that back then it was like blind card BCC. Remember that? Because we didn't have all these email software these days. But we would send an email out every week letting them know like, hey, here's the houses that just came up for sale. And then what happened, my agent and I, we were selling a ton of listings that way because the moment that something came on the market, we already had a buyer's list waiting to purchase, right? And that's a really aligned list, like people that are like ready to take the action. And a lot of us don't do that these days. We put the most random things out in the marketplace. That would be like me putting a coupon for a pizza, hoping that they were an investor in real estate.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. I love that because, again, that probably was a very personalized experience for them, too, because they were like, oh, my gosh, you're actually listening to the things that I'm interested in. And then, ta-da, here are the things that you can choose from. And they probably felt it was a very personalized buying experience for them.
Yeah. And, and then many years later, like when we were coaching photographers in the photographer space, I realized that we saw a lot of people that were really struggling to get higher end clients. And what they were doing is they were like photographing, then they would just put a digital image, they would brag about it on social media, right? And they would try to list build off of doing that to get people that might be interested in future photo shoots. But what ended up happening, they were kind of getting like the Groupon crowd, because they always saw these digital images. Because if you want to attract a certain client, you need to project, you need to put out the right information to list build that way. Now, what we realize is those of the people that we were coaching that actually showed like artwork, like displaying in people's homes, like big, beautiful canvases up on the wall, beautiful albums being printed out. Like those are the people that were spending more money. They weren't looking for the digital files in the low. So when they were list building, they were attracting the right people in because they were projecting like what their offer was. They knew like they wanted the higher end people. So they started showing that type of work because a lot of times, a lot of us, like we almost keep our offers like 007 Secret Agent. We keep them private and quiet. And then we spring it on people. Oh, by the way, I have this thing that I'm going to sell you. And it's not even aligned with who we attracted into our world.
Yeah, I think this is a really great reminder too about quality over quantity. Because again, when we think of lists, we think of, oh, we have to have this big, big list, right? But that's not necessarily the case. A really small list that is really hyper focused on what it is that you do and interested in what you do, that's a quality list. That's a list that's that you can cultivate and can really connect with, that's going to lead to your offers and more likely to buy. So remember, when building your list, you don't necessarily have to build a list to build this big list of people that are not going to buy, that people are not the right people. You want a quality list of the right people. Yeah,
that also reminds me of a few years ago in Chesapeake City, Maryland. We went to a Chesapeake City Day, and they had a bunch of booths, and they had these pop-up tents and everything. And there was this one random booth. There was nobody actually at it, but they all it had was $50 Walmart gift card and an entry blank. And it was like, oh my goodness, like they're getting the most, like they're getting people signing up, but unless they're a local business that like drive people because of course they're there locally, like it's so generic. So we have to be careful on that piece of bait, like the thing that we put out into the world, because again, you'll get a huge list, as Melissa was saying, you'll get a huge list, but it's not quality. It's something, I would almost look at it as like a muddy list. It's not very clear, like why these people are on it, and what you're going to offer. And it's almost a little blind. Like if you think about it, when you do a contest, if it's not tuned in right, or you could do a giveaway and that's not tuned in right, like that can attract people in on your list, but then they might not even know what they're opting in for. And when you go to send them an email, they're like, why are you spamming me? I don't even know who you are. You're stranger danger, right?
We want a crystal clear list, right?
Yes. So let's look at this, because you know what? A lot of people aren't guided properly. They don't know how to create that perfect list experience for people. So I think we actually put this together, Melissa, and you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we've made it really easy for you. We've created the perfect list building experience guide, and this is going to walk you through on how to create an awesome list building experience for your audience. So you want to head over to the show notes and you can download the guide and get started with building your list the right way. Again, bringing in the right people on your list, that quality list of people that are going to be more interested in the things that you do and the transformation that you're promising. So again, head over to the show notes and you can grab that guide.
Yeah, so just circling back real quick, this is all about lists are not all created equal. You want to have somebody that's ready, willing, and able, people that are aligned with your offer, not just the randomness that's out into the world. So that vanity metric is not as important if it's not quality. We rather have you focus on that quality versus the quantity. We want to make sure what we put out into the world, like what we're projecting, that's naturally that messaging and what the offers that we put out in the world is going to attract the right people to us right from the beginning. So we have to be very careful what we place in there. And I hammered on it before, and I'll hammer on it again, is that it's quality over quantity. Stop focusing on everybody else in the world and their big, huge numbers. That's not going to move the needle for you. At the end of the day, you do want somebody that's going to want to be very aligned with the offer that you make them. So that, again, they get the transformation that Melissa was speaking into.
So we've had an awesome time here talking on the podcast. So remember to subscribe if you want to learn more about online marketing, and be sure to share it with a friend. We're talking and jamming on things all having to do with marketing to build your list and bring the right people into your world. And make sure you grab that guide, because that's definitely going to help you out on your journey too.
Yes. And until we talk again, remember, marketing matters.
If you would like to work with us and our team to help you snap up more sales and incredible clients with a stellar marketing strategy that works, go to adaptivemembership.com and sign up for our wait list. We have a limited number of spots in our exclusive program to set you up for success and take action. We're waiting for you at adaptivemembership.com.